Good morning, everyone. On the University and School of Management Studies, I heartily welcome Dr. Kiran Sood for an informative session on entrepreneurship and innovation management concepts. Ma'am has 18 years of experience in reputed educational institution and strong educational background with doctorate PhD degree in portfolio analysis and master degree in commerce. She is currently working as a professor at Chitkara University. Thank you so much, ma'am, for sparing out your precious time today. I am sure today's session will be very fruitful for all of us. And without any further delay, I would like to hand over the session to you, ma'am. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Kiran. Thank you so much for such a nice word. And, and thank you for inviting me. Rather, I will say that I'm honored to be here today, and especially to the organization where I've already spent 2 years, 2017 to 2019. I was working with City University. So it's really a matter of honor for me that I'm going to share my views on on a very important topic that is entrepreneurship and innovation, and basically a topic which is very crucial for economic and can say social development. So thanks for inviting me. Okay, so as we all know that we are here to discuss about entrepreneurship. So I would like to start with basically what is an entrepreneur. We all know that it's an individual, it's a common person who creates a new business, right? And basically, that person basically bear risks and enjoy associated rewards for that risk, right? And what about entrepreneurship? The process of setting up a business, that is known as entrepreneurship. And we see that each and every entrepreneur is commonly seen as an innovator. That person brings new ideas, goods, services, innovation in terms of new processes, or maybe related to, you can say, upgradation in the existing processes or in the existing technology. So there are many things. So for that, let me share my screen first. I hope my screen is visible to everyone. Okay. Chat box. Okay, thank you. Okay. So, okay, what is an entrepreneur? As I just said that entrepreneur basically a person who sets up the business, right? And what important point here that is, while setting up a business, one thing that comes everyone's mind, and that basically, at times discourage us not to set up a business, that is risk, right? And simultaneously, I would say reward. So both are working in opposite direction. Risk is something that discourage a person to pursue the business, and reward associated with that very particular thought or creative idea that a person carries, that is something which encourages. So that depends upon how you take these two important elements, which are basically inherent to each and every type of business. So that really plays an important role. Okay. And moving on to the very important personality traits of each and every entrepreneur. It's just my general opinion, because if I will start explaining the personality trait of each and every entrepreneur, you will find them like it's unique characteristics, right? You can generalize up to some extent, right? So basically, these are some of the common personality traits in order to become a successful entrepreneur. For example, you can say that you need the passion about it. You should be passionate about it. Like I have seen the level of passion, you can say, in sports. Their sportsman spirit you can see that, and you can judge that how much passionate they are in order to achieving their goals. Social skills, they are really, really very important. An entrepreneur basically is a person who has to interact with all types of stakeholders, either inside stakeholders or it could be outside stakeholders. So it is very much important to carry these social skills, right? For example, you are interacting with public at large, in which you can say that you are interacting with the customers, you are interacting with the financial institutions, you are interacting with the banks or the employees. So in that case, these social skills that they really, really play an important role. Motivated self-starters, as I've already said that the motivation that plays an important role, because if you are demotivated, you're not able to carry your idea, and then it will not be a success. A self motivation that really plays an important role, although you can see that motivation might comes from here and there. Basically that family plays an important role, your close friends, that they plays an important role, but above all, one thing is very much important, that's the self motivation. If that is missing, it will be difficult, not impossible, but yes. So self motivation, that is really important. Creativity, each and every type of business that has some own level of creativity. Without creativity, you cannot bring innovations, or both are, you can say, they're dependent on each other. You can say creativity is the outcome of innovation, or just because of creativity innovation comes. So creativity has to be there, otherwise you won't be able to compete in this, you won't be able to stand in this cutthroat competition. Risk taker, yes, we have seen the uncertainties in our life, and especially if you can say that, especially in COVID times, we have seen how many business have been closed down all of a sudden. So that is just because of unwanted forces coming from global market. So you are ready to accept those risks coming out of uncertainties in your life. That depends from, maybe it is coming from the customer, maybe your technology gonna obsolete, but yes, you have to be a person who is capable of up to some level of kind of taking risk. Easygoing attitude is a very it's a very basic parameter. It's very much important because it's how humble toward you are towards your stakeholders. So in that case, this kind of attitude, that it in that case, looking at you, people will start contacting you, and you build up relations, and then that will be easy. For example, if you're talking about supplier customer relations, so in that case, that really plays an important role. Or this attitude may be helpful, for example, in case of raising finance from various financial institutions, maybe raising seed capital, so that is also very much needed. Eager to learn, yes, there is no age of learning, right? Learning at each and every point of life, learning in terms of innovation, learning in terms of changes in your existing products, or learning may come in the form of product differentiation, product line. So you have to, learning is, you can say, it's a never ending process, right? Process oriented, yes, very much important. Process oriented, one can be said that in order to minimize the wastages coming out of resources, you should like utilize the resources in optimum manner. Especially we talk about this the water, let's take an example of water. So you should use it in such a manner that you can have best advantage out of that, right? So your focus should be on process oriented, that brings more profit at a lesser cost, right? Discipline is very much important. It's not important only in the lives of entrepreneur. It really plays an important role in the common man's life. So discipline teaches us each and every point of time. So undoubtedly there is, I think I need not to say anything about it, why discipline is very much important, right? If you are in discipline only, then you can expect to be disciplined by the other ones, right? So that is one of the important basic requirement, and one of the important personality trait. Empathy is, yes, empathy is something that you are very confirm, very it's a kind of strong zeal that, or it's a kind of determination towards achieving something. Either it could be quality in terms of your products, or maybe the innovation, or maybe the profit maximization. And the level of confidence, that is basic, also very, very important. Confident person can do anything, can do wonders into their lives. And communication also, that plays an important role, because if you're not able to express, the language doesn't matter, but you have to be very, very communicative, because if you're not able to express your viewpoints, then it will not be able to pass on to others. So in that case, really, it serves the purpose. It's really very, very important. And you have to give full recognition to customer. As we all know that customer is the only person, customer is the king of the market, customer is the person who create demand, and based on his or her demand, our business goes on. Either it is related to, we talk about startups, business, entrepreneur, it's all because of the customer demand. If there is no customer, there is nothing can be existed, right? So these are some of the basic common personality traits which I would like to share with you right now. Yes, coming further, like anyone who can write in the chat box about the personality, the name of the personality in the chat box. If you are watching to me, if you are listening to me, who's this person? If you can write in the chat box. I don't know whether it's open to all of you or not. Okay, any guesses? So this is basically Eric, right? Eric Yuan, the CEO of Zoom. Why I have chosen this personality. There is no doubt there is a long list of entrepreneurs, right? There is no doubt. But yes, I found this person, matching with the requirement of, you can say, okay, we are attending this Zoom classes, and he is also a successful entrepreneur. So I thought, let's take this person as an example in order to become a successful, his journey and all that. I'm going to discuss with you in a very fastest way. So basically, according to Eric, who is the CEO of Zoom, what he has said, that work is no longer a place. It's basically a space where Zoom serves to empower your teams, to connect, and to bring the best ideas to the life. So this is something to be said by a great entrepreneur, Eric Yuan, and the CEO of Zoom, right? Okay. Now let's something more about this great personality. Eric is basically, as I've already said, that it's the CEO and the founder of Zoom, right? And basically, we all know that what is Zoom all about? It's a video communication tool, right? And it went public, especially in the month of April 2019. We have seen that the demand, the graph of Zoom drastically risen from this to there. So the Zoom usage has drastically increased, the surge during specifically in this pandemic times. And that is basically the opportunity. And that's the point of time, that how to grasp that opportunity, right? So basically, and apart from that, Eric, the CEO of Zoom, was basically a manager prior to that, manager of WebEx at Cisco. And at that time, which acquired the video conferencing company in 2007. He born on 20th February 1970. And okay, you can say almost 52 years he's of right now. His wife name is Sherry. Okay, he's having approximately the net worth of, according to the Forbes, the net worth of 460 crores in US dollars, 3 kids, and yes, founder and CEO of Zoom Video Communications, nationality by American and Chinese. Now, why Zoom? Basically, why I'm talking about Zoom here, right? So we have seen the transition phase of Zoom, right? And that transition phase came specifically in COVID times, right? So business transition from analog to digital, right? We were meeting in person, we were meeting offline earlier before COVID, but as per the requirement, as per lockdown, as per this global pandemic, we restricted ourselves to digitalization mode. And today is an example. Now, okay, this is post-pandemic situation, but see, this is the example. Even if there are options that we can meet in person, we are still adopting their way, the digital ways. Now, there are reasons behind why we are still confined, not only confined, but yes, up to some cases, we are confined to digital ways of connecting with people. So this has a very, huge transition from analog to digital ways, and basically traditional to modern work also, right? This is a kind of transformation from traditional to modern, but through digital ways, right? Remote work or video collaboration, that they are one of the important reasons. It was very difficult, specifically in this COVID times, because of travel restrictions, because of lockdown. So yes, that has another boost to, you can say, towards this digital revolution. And we have seen that, especially in this COVID times, how fastly the technologies are, transforming. It's not just the Zoom. Our survival is, if something was possible, that was through technology. E-commerce is one of the example, right? We place orders like while sitting at home. If you want to order something while sitting at home, so that is only possible. That's because of this technology. So technology is increasingly, you can see that the exponential pace of that technology in our life, especially in this COVID time. So this is basically one of the idea that came from the side of Eric. And see the spirits, look at his spirit. Such a big innovator he is, the entrepreneur and the process. So all the things are coming together, for which the topic I'm here, the entrepreneur and the entrepreneurship, and of course the innovation that he has brought into this tool to whom we call Zoom. And that's the platform I'm here to be with you. So Eric basically had been inspired. So what was the basic crux behind the story? Where the idea came from? Basically, the idea of Zoom. What was the logic behind? What is the small story behind? So basically, what was the logic? Eric was traveling by a train, and that was a train of duration of 10 hours. The purpose behind that Eric wanted to meet his girlfriend. That was a long timings. So in order to overcome such challenge, so he tried to practice something which is, and for which we are experiencing right now, that's Zoom. As it has been said that whenever there is a problem, we try to find the solution. So the problem was such a long distance, and he was something like to overcome that traveling issue. So in that case, his first public work, that was a video telephony, that was in the first year when he was a first year student in 1987. He developed basically a piece of Peacepoke. That is basically a video telephone software. Using that, you can talk to persons, like you can yes, looking at the faces. So that was the first, you can say, his trial. Moving further about the Zoom history, basically. No doubt, we heard of so much about Zoom, specifically in this 2019, and still Zoom is still in our lives, but it has started way back. So let's have some history towards. So according to this history, you can see that in April 2011, Zoom began its journey, right? So at that time, by the month of September 2012, the first iteration, that beta, was revealed. It was so, and just after this, within a span of 4 months, I can say January 2013, Zoom 1.0 became available to the public. So this is how the better versions that we were experiencing, although I was not, maybe you were not also. So with the passage of time, as we have seen that later on, we faced some security measures also. But before that, Zoom phone, Zoom chat, and then increasingly security measures that came into existence. So Zoom basically reported the first quarter total revenue at that time, which is $956.2 million. And that is almost, you can say, a growth rate of 195. And that's the huge profit. And then with the passage of time, you can say that in July 2021, the June announced basically his intention to acquire Five9 for $14.7 billion. So this is one of the largest acquisition of larger acquisition in the history of Zoom. And we all know that how much we are into the Zoom. Zoom has entered to our lives to that level that you can say that you can look at Google, you can look at Skype before it, but now just like Google and Skype, you can say that Zoom has become another verb or like a noun for all of us, right? I have seen people, not people, even I personally use these common slangs that I will Zoom you later. That's a very common line. Let's have a Zoom. So this is something which is very popular amongst, not just among students, among, I don't know, like so many people use this, right? So this is all because of popularity when you are so much dependent on. So this is a kind of service. We have also made that our own terms of, these are something related to qualitative aspects and our emotions to incline towards, you can say Zoom specific emotions and practices. And this is all just because of the popularity of the Zoom. That is why we are always so much into that. I have seen, I can give you one example here. I was talking to one of my researcher. I used to call people. I normally even tendency to avoid sending messages. So I always, because for me, sending messages, exchanging messages, that's mere wastage of time. So in that case, I prefer to call someone. So I'm just sharing a very small and recent experience with you. In that case, I tried calling someone. Okay, then I was just talking to that person. He was basically my researcher. So in response to that, I get that, ma'am, can we have a Zoom call? I was like, oh my God, when there was no Zoom, then what was happening? People were okay with the regular calls, but now people were avoiding regular calls. They were like, okay, let's have a Zoom call. So this is something just because of, you can say, the popularity of the Zoom. And then yes, we cannot deny the popularity, right? So even the availability of regular call is enough, but still people, I don't know why they want to go for a Zoom call all the times, right? So yes, and just because of this popularity, we have seen that so many papers are normally being written on the Zoom, right? Zoom fatigue, Zoom bombing. In that case, you can say normally what happens when there are so many participants, normally that crashes to your Zoom window, right? So basically, since I was talking about this entrepreneur and entrepreneurship, this journey of Eric, so basically, what are the reasons behind, what is the success mantra of Zoom? That's the simplicity, right? Always accepted, right? People accept that. So Zoom became a very, very friendly, it's a very friendly app also, and it became a consumer favorite during specifically pandemic. Although there was a need, that is also one of the important reason behind the success mantra. But it's not just because the need, also the simplicity of Zoom that really plays an important role behind the success of the Zoom. And apart now, that simplicity can be measured in terms of joining. See, you people have joined, I have joined today. The ease of joining, ease of sharing, participating. When we started experiencing Zoom for the first time, it was like a hell for me. What is this Zoom all about? I was like, oh, I cannot do this. But with the passage of time, you would have seen your grandparents, everybody, they can use it because it's a very customer friendly, app. So you can say that your mom, dad, grandpa, even great grand, parents also, they can use it. Now that depends whether they want to use it or not. But yes, so you have seen Zoom everywhere on the airport lounges. Every year you can travel, you'll find a Zoom availability over there. Uh, like I'm not saying I'm not here, like I'm not a brand ambassador of Zoom, but yes, I found it relevant. That's why I'm talking about Zoom here. So I'm not saying nothing comes with perfection, right? Nothing comes with perfection. I experienced micro teams also. I think many of you would have also experienced. But yes, above all, you need to decide which is your favorite, right? Either it's Zoom, Microsoft Teams, and WebEx. One thing I must say here, Microsoft Teams that really needs heavy software in order to access that above all. But yes, the security measures are a bit more stronger enough in case of Microsoft Teams. So looking at your preferences, you can go for which one you would like to choose, right? So yes, See, the journey of this entrepreneurship, it's not like a bed of roses, right? The journey of this, the process of this entrepreneurship is not like a bed of roses. It has many challenges also. And similarly, we have the CEO of Zoom has definitely crossed some challenges. That was the one of the important challenge which I experienced, which I can, you can say that noted when the Zoom was in the picture, that issues related to scrutiny that came into existence. And then the company stopped, the soon, you can say the company seemed to be facing daily headlines that there is something related to security or the privacy issues, and then investigations gone for that. And then eventually what happened, that Zoom announced it that it would stop all this new feature development for a very short period of time. And then the recovery phase came into. So that's why it's nothing comes with perfection. So this was a little bit flaw related to security issues, and later on that was overcome. And this journey of this Zoom, especially after post-pandemic world, that we can see now this was an issue that we were experiencing more vaccinations. That was the need also, because the pandemic, the outbreak which whole world was experiencing. So because of that, we were not able to travel, and lockdown restrictions also. So we were more using Zoom. So a thought came to his mind that what happens if we will recover out of this phase of phase of this pandemic, because most of the people were taking vaccinations. So this was a challenging situation. People will still use Zoom or not. So this was under a question mark. Or these customers which were experiencing Zoom during the pandemic, was it remain same even after the pandemic? So things were coming to, yes, definitely his mind. So based on that, I have collected the information that world is going to continue, right? Continue for this video conferencing at the same rate. Not at the same rate, you may see some like changes are there. Now, there are different reasons behind why people are experiencing Zoom even after post-pandemic also. We are living, first of all, in a hybrid model. If we have meetings in person also, we can carry the same meetings in online mode also. We have the option of 5G networks and the environmental impact. That's one of the important point that goes in the favor of Zoom, that's the environmental impact. People avoid traveling across nations, within the nation. So that was another important point that people still using Zoom in the post-pandemic world also, right? And this, the reality, as you can say, that the augmented reality that allows for richer interactions, we can see that we are not just experiencing, it's not just only the Zoom that we are experiencing. We have better versions of interacting with the people, where we can have augmented world, and the quality of online interaction has gone to another level, right? So they were very, very rich in interacting with the people. And we feel like that we are sitting in, for example, you can have Zoom call wherever you want to go, and then that's the comfort that we are experiencing. So comfort level, that really plays an important role. I have seen people on Zoom using mobile phones, so that's the another important good feature, that yes, one can use Zoom. Even, for example, let's take an example of Microsoft Teams on mobile phone, or Zoom on mobile phone. Both can have an access on the mobile phone, but you'll feel you will face some more challenges, something related to the MS Teams, just because of the heavy software it is. Okay. And yes, Zoom stock hits the stock, basically it's related to the shares, right? That really plays an important role, because that's the lifespan of the journey of that becoming an entrepreneur, and then entrepreneurship, that process, how it gonna impact the stock of the Zoom, maybe positive or maybe negative. So Zoom became basically a public company on April 18th, 2019. And at that time, the price was just $36 per share. That was the initial price. Now see the transformation. It was in the beginning, it was just $36 per share. And then with the passage of time, you can see the transformation, the increase in the price, the same stock price, which was $36, that converted into $102 by July 2019. And this is not the end of the story. By the end of this first day of trading, the Zoom stock price that further rise 72%, and then it was valued at $16 million. So this is just an exponential growth, which we cannot imagine. So this is all because of the hardships of the entrepreneur in the process of entrepreneurship and while bringing innovation. So entrepreneurship while bringing innovations. And see what happens later on in March 2020. And we all know this, when this world pandemic was declared, so that Zoom reached another height. The stock price gone further high at $150 per share. And then afterwards, see, then I told you, when the restrictions were a bit relaxed or people were, going for vaccinations. So this is just a graph where you will see ups and downs, just like boom, depression. So Zoom stock dipped also with the 9% in April 2020. So, but as I already told you, that reasons behind, we are still in hybrid mode, right? So offices shut down and working from home, that became the second nature of our life. And with the passage of time, the stock was continuing the same graph, same pace. It was in the same pace almost. And by the end of May 2020, Zoom touched, yes, $200. And this steady gains continue by October 11 to 2020. And at that time, see the increase in the stock prices, it's $559, right? So this is all how Zoom making money, right? And there is no doubt about it, just because of the popularity. It's not just the popularity, the journey of hardships. So Zoom 2021 revenues, they reported a revenue of this, looking at the consolidated balance sheets, looking at the first quarter financial results, you can see the data given before you. And you can see that as a result, Zoom has also raised the capital with a range of almost 3.975 billion for the full fiscal year. So this is how Zoom is making money. And so this was all about Zoom, which I just wanted to share with you. Now let's talk about with innovations. That's a very important point here, for which I am here to discuss with you. Innovation, basically, Zoom is the another example based on the innovation, where I was talking about the service, right? So innovation may comes in the form of a process, innovation may comes in the form of a product, or you can change the existing product or process also. So that is the innovation. Now, these are some of the examples of innovations. Like you have seen the Apple. I think many of you must be using, or you would have used, Uber, Airbnb, and Amazon. So Amazon is something we have experiencing while placing online orders while sitting at home. So yes, these are one of the greatest example of innovations in our lives, and how they have brought innovations into their businesses. And we all are experiencing the benefits out of those innovations. Now, some of the most relevant developments and innovations which has become the importance of our life, since I think we all know that we all are experiencing this climate change in our lives. And I've taken the example of agriculture here. You can see the latest developments and innovations taking place in agriculture, and that is why it's known as agri-technology. We can see that India, which is a developing country, how much it is dependent on, you can say, agriculture. The population is increasing, second largest country in terms of population, and it is very difficult to feed the entire population, just because the land size, it's not the land size, but land availability of land is decreasing year by year, just because of urbanization, industrialization. People do not want to go for agriculture. So it was a challenge. It is basically a challenge to feed the entire population with the same capacity, because we cannot increase the size of the land, right? Rather, we are facing challenges in terms of finding lands. So in order to overcome this problem, that's to feed the increasing population of India, we need innovations in terms of technology. So how those innovations are helping to the entire society. the entire nation. For example, you can see that digital soil maps are there that can be used, right? Looking at that is kind of supervision tool that can be used. Tech-powered indoor vegetable farms means technology-based indoor covered vegetable farms. That's the another, you can say, a kind of revolution which has been taken. And feeding greens without organic fish waste. So we are not going to be used any pesticides, etc., etc. So we are all towards based on, you can say, we are on sustainable development, right? All the practices that we are following, they are totally based on the concept of sustainable development and improving the water efficiency through sunlight, agriculture. We have seen that how much drone is important in our lives, right? And that same advantage of drone can be used in agriculture so that we can look after the our crops. For example, if in case of monsoon season or maybe in case of whatever, you need not to pay visit to the directly to the fields. Using drone, you can have that experience that you can look after. I'm not saying that each and every person can access to all these technologies, because when something happens, like there are some challenges behind. That's the education. You need skilled farmers, how to use it, and then above all, the money, the finance part. So there are many things, but this is how we can transform our, the traditional style of agriculture into a new style, which is agri-based technology. This is the another example, innovations. As you can see that the future of solar, you have seen how much that what water we were using, we are still using for generating electricity, but water is a natural resource and which is depleting year by year. So we need to find some innovations, a new ways. So yes, we have ample amount of sun. Why do not utilize it? So this is just one of the example of a floating solar farms, which is very, very popular. Many countries, they are into the practice of adopting this floating solar farms. Right, basically this floating solar farms, they are big, great reservoirs of solar energy, right? So they are big dams and they help in storing the solar energy, and then out of that we generate the electricity. So this, with the help of this, you can say that this is an advantage over that we should not dependent on the water, right? And first of all, the very important point here that we are not dependent on the land, because this type of solar, floating solar farms, they are on, you can say, you can install these floating solar farms on rivers or maybe something like on a lake also. We don't need any kind of real estate investment. We don't need any kind of land oriented investment. So that's one of the important. So this is how we can use the natural resources, which is the sunlight, which is an abundant, and that you need innovations out of that. I would like to play this video, just a second, 1 second. 1 second for me that. I hope my screen is visible. I'm going to play a video, audio and video. Is anyone can write in the chat box that the screen is visible? Okay, thank you. Please watch that video.
Are robots really taking over? We may not know the answer to that yet, but we do know that they're coming and, well, they're pretty darn cute. Like Ido here. It's there when you wake up and spends the day hanging out with you and your kids while you paint, play piano, and do yoga. At the end of a busy day, you can sleep soundly knowing that Ido is on patrol. Now this little guy has Personality Plus.
Say hi, Jibo.
Hi, Jibo.
Jibo takes your video and photos so you can ditch that selfie stick.
Melissa just sent a reminder that she's picking you up in half an hour to go grocery shopping.
Thanks, Jibo.
It's also a personal assistant and great at keeping you in touch with family. In fact, Jibo kind of is part of the family. Is that weird? Rakid runs a tight ship. There may be something you want to do.
Do I have time to meet my friends for drinks at 9 p.m.?
You have grocery shopping starting at 7.
But Rakid knows your schedule better than you do and will set you straight. Zenbo here is a jack of all trades type. It'll entertain your kids, remind you to take your pills,
Take blood pressure medication.
the one thing it won't do is cook for you. Unlike Bratwurstbot, which cooks them up and serves them hot. This robot turns every day into a sausage fest. If grocery shopping is more your thing, then Future Food District is for you. Shopping the aisles turns into a fantastical trip where augmented reality tells you where food comes from and robotic arms pick out your fruits and veggies. Back at home, you must be sick of looking at that pile of clean laundry that just gets bigger and bigger. Those cotton tees aren't going to fold themselves, but Foldymate has you covered. Never fold laundry again.
So I hope you enjoyed watching this video. So basically this video in which the message was that how much a robot has entered to our lives. He's helping, I think, in each and every box of our life. He's giving us reminder, right? He's taking pics also. It's a kind of alarming situation also. And above all, he knows how to cook also and how to serve also. And he giving a reminder related to, like, for example, when you need to take pills and when you need to take medicines. And yes, for example, if you have set an alarm related to shopping also, this is how the robot has entered to our lives. Let me share my screen once again. 1 second. Okay. So I was talking about innovations, like now I was talking about innovations in agriculture. Now look at the example of transport, right? We have seen that busy roads, right? The future of roads, it's very difficult to travel. We have traveling, different modes of travel, airways, seaways, roadways, right? Like cars have roads, trains have rails, planes have airports, but now there is the new concept of transport and traveling. That's the future of, you can say, the urban transport, right? So what is that future of urban transport, which I am going to share? That is eVTOLs. Basically, it is something related with urban airports. And that is an electrical vertical takeoff and landing. It's obviously electricity based. And one important point is vertical. You need not to go like just the other planes, the way they take off. It's just a very direct, right? No slant position you are taking for takeoff. So it's vertical takeoff. So in that case, if it is a vertical takeoff, one of the important and good point here that you need less land, less space for taking off, right? And the electrical takeoff. So this is how the future of, you can say, the transport is taking shape. And this takeoffs, these devices you can use in your personal lives also, or you can say for placing orders also, right? And the robot vacuum cleaners and the kitchen robots, they're also the one of the examples, right? How they use these practices. So robots, basically they clean our windows. I have seen like in most of the metro cities or the countries where the stories are in hundreds, how challenging or risky it is to clean the doors. So it is all possible, all because of the man-made machines, the robots, right? How they clean the windows and everything they do it. Each and every task they perform, which is normally being performed by human beings earlier also, even the cooking also. So this was the example of, this is the example of this, you can say the electrical vertical takeoffs, looking at that. So this is basically an airport. Airport specifically designed for, it is in practice in UK. You can see that they have started using it, especially in the month of April. So look at that, and the robots over there, right? So you need not require much space there, just because it's a vertical takeoff. Okay. So this is one of the world's first airport, as I've already said, that first airport for electrical drones and the flying cars. Also, it's not just the drones. You can see these robots are designed in such a way where you can fly your flying cars, right? And this is just recently opened in the UK. And for example, they are just experiencing it, right? And for example, if it is gonna be successful, so it will be gonna set an example for this whole world. And one of the important point is that they are going to be powered by a hydrogen generator, and which is totally based on the concept of sustainable, you can say sustainable airports, and where there are no emissions, just like other planes, right? And they're fully autonomous, right? And just because no emissions are there, so they are based on the concept of innovations which are sustainable public transport network, right? Now that depending upon your available resources, because when you talk about entrepreneur innovation, you need resources. So that was basically completed in a span of 15 months from planning to completion. This was the phase that normally they took in order to complete this project, right? One important thing, yes, when you think of something new innovations and something which is related to in space, you cannot go for that. You need to fulfill the requirement of regulations. That really plays an important role, just like we have regulations for each and every sector. So similarly, it is very much important to give approvals, to have approvals, and then accordingly the security measures, that really plays an important role. So nothing comes with perfection. There are challenges. Now challenges are coming here in the form of regulation. So you need basically a green signal who can give you permission. Okay, then yes, you can go that. You can like proceed with your innovation. So that's why there is a need to revamp your entire system of regulation so that you can carry out these innovations for the benefit of the whole society at large. Now, these are the, I know, some more challenges like that the whole world is facing, that is the plastic pollution. So how the innovative tech solutions are helping in. We have seen the increasing sea level, right? And we all, the human beings, are the only one who are responsible behind this increasing plastic pollutions, right? So it's very difficult to have a control. So it's just the technology who can have access and give us solutions to the our problem of in order to curb the plastic pollution. So this is the mask, you can see that could be very dangerous, right? As well as to the entire the sea animals and all that. So you can see that using nanotechnology. Now, some of the examples, innovations that I would like to show based on sustainability that can be helpful to the society. Now, looking at the example, you can say that it has been said that say no to plastic, right? So this is an example of nanotechnology. So that's an example of basically smart packing, right? So one of the good point here, it is the cost effective also, right? It's the cost effective also. And basically this thing is a water resistant material, right? That prevents from any kind of leakage and especially the rain itself. So this is something related to nanotechnology. So the problem here it is we need to convince people, we need to aware the masses of that we should go for such things. We should go for like say big no to the plastics, right? One more example is related to, you can say, the genetic engineering of natural products. We have abundant amount of natural resources, but we are not using them. Maybe lack of knowledge, or maybe the lack of technology, or maybe other things, or we are just because of resistance to change. We do not want to change. So looking at that, I can give you one example. I think you would have seen many times. We have bamboo. Bamboo is something which you cannot. It's a kind of that green product which you can use as a water bottle. I have seen a startup which is specifically based on bamboo water bottles. So you need to think out of the box, and then you need to pursue the goals of sustainable also. So this is the other kind of innovation. And looking at the skyrocketing problems related to plastic, it is very difficult to have a watch or a supervision that we can control this. So we are using technology like satellites to observe what is happening over the entire seas. So that in that case, we started procedure that is known as ocean cleanup, right? So that the main objective was to clean the seas, and this is a non-profit organization, right? So using this technology-based satellite imaging or the machine learning, we are trying to overcome this problem, and we are moving towards cleanup, right? And we have seen that we have captured almost 5 trillion pieces of plastic, and so this is how things goes on, and it's all because of innovations, right? And this is the another example which I recently found somewhere. This is the example of, not example, yes, the picture, very popular beach of Bombay, Mumbai, it's Warsaw beach. Now see the picture, you can see the comparison here, before and after, when there was all scrap was on the sea, and then when it was removed, you can see the sea turtles around over there. So this is the difference, right? And this can be overcome. But for that, you need a strong zeal and, yes, above all, innovations also. Blockchain based reward system is the another way, right? Basically, what is it's this is basically, blockchain is a technology which is distribution ledger technology, where we keep normally, assets in a digital way, but this technology used in different way in order to encourage people. So what is this? We have created a plastic bank, right? Basically a grassroots organization. So they offer basically digital tokens in exchange of those who recycle plastic. So this is a kind of motivation, that something will, if you will provide us this recycled plastics, so we will give you a kind of digital token. So this is a kind of practice, or maybe an aim to you can say, to transform or to revolutionize the entire world, or to recycle the entire system, right? And yes, this is the same example. Based on this, you can say the blockchain based reward system is working on. Now, as you have seen that this COVID-19, when COVID is so much in our lives, still it is there, it has not completely gone. So whenever there's a problem, we go for solutions to the problems, right? So we start working on new inventions, we start working on accessing new databases, right? But there were challenges also. You need sanctions, approval also, right? I have seen many people working for this, patents also. So many patents coming in the form of design, so many patents came in the form of technologies, right? In different sectors and domains. It could be insurance also. Insurance is one of the example. We have seen that. Let's take an example of health insurance here, right? Why health insurance, specifically health or motor insurance? People were not able to travel in public transport because there was a lockdown. So people were relying on their own personal conveyance, right? So people started buying also, right? And but there was a challenge, you cannot go outside the doors. And opposite side, related to health insurance, when you need to go for health insurance, you need to buy, you need to show a certificate, that's the health certificate. But in order to get that certificate, you need to pay a visit to the hospitals, and then there's a medical examination, and then things go further. But due to this lockdown restrictions, it was not possible. So things went online. Now, how the things went online? Just because of technology, innovations, blockchain, although it is still not up to the mark, but yes, COVID-19, that one of the reason. And because of that, people started selling, buying of all the services, not the insurance, in the banks also, right? Those who were not earlier using all these things, just because of the need, they started using it. But now with the passage of time, we are so much into that we have made it like a habit, right? So we need basically a sustainable model, right, in order to practice this business, or in order to reap the profits, right? So most successful practitioner of sustainable business model, basically that is basically focusing on environmental factors, the society, and the financial. These three things are very, very important. That is the best sustainable business model that fulfills the requirement of sustainable environment, society, and financial, because finance is something which is which is one of the biggest constraints, right? So sustainable development, basically that's the development that fulfills the need of each and every common man, and keeping into consideration on without affecting or without compromising the future, without compromise the ability of future generations. That's the important point here. And one of the important characteristics, I would say, you can say there are four important elements of a sustainable business model. Yes, it has to be commercially profitable, right? Futuristic approach, and the way you are using resources in optimum manner that you can go it for a long run, and it gives back to the society. Just because you are not using it for your present, the way you should use it, that you should not compromise the ability that the future get deprived of out of that. So that is the important, you can say, the feature of a sustainable business model. And apart from that, yes, the last example which I would like to share here, that we need to use it, we need to reuse it, share it, and repair it. One of the important example, we need so many, you can say, devices in our life, the charger, the laptop, the Bluetooth devices, so many devices in our life. We were using it earlier also, but now just because of this pandemic, we have started using it just like anything, right? So based on that concept, so a lot of wastages are coming, scraps are coming just because of this IT dependent or IT equipments. So in order to overcome the problem of managing this waste, a retake collect redundant IT equipment that came into existence. These are the organizations in the UK and the Europe. So basically what they are doing, they are collecting all these wastages, right? All these spare parts, and they are recycling all these spare parts, for example, these batteries and all these devices. And they are making, they are using all these wastages to convert into landfills. So that is very, very good thing. First of all, you are using it, you are reusing it, and then after reusing it, where you gonna reuse it, that is the requirement of landfills. That is one of the important requirements. So this is basically that I was talking about. One more thing which I would like to tell you, that we are talking about entrepreneurship, entrepreneur, and the innovations. So one thing which I personally feel, which is very, very important, that is to have a positive attitude, right? Or you can say to promote conducive environment so that you can have, so that you can possess those entrepreneurship skills. Or and normally what happens when you conceive an idea, the problem related to finance that comes to your mind, right? So how to tackle finance gaps and affecting on new small firms, especially in the early stages of innovations. So there are so many challenges in the entire journey of this entrepreneurship, right? And we need to strengthen knowledge-based entrepreneurship. That is also very important. And that is only possible if we provide this knowledge to the students, especially in the colleges or in the institutions, right? And apart from that, we need to promote partnerships from various firms or from various research organizations, right? So that they provide support in terms of infrastructure. As we have seen that there are science parks, incubators, or collaborative research opportunities. So, and these are very, very important. And one last thing which I would like to I would like to mention here, that there is a need to strengthen entrepreneurial human capital, right? So that really plays an important role. And that is only possible that if we build up all this entrepreneurship education in our schools, universities, or higher education institutions. So that really serves our purpose. So this is from my side. I'm done.
Thank you so much, ma'am. It was a wonderful session indeed. The whole concept of innovation and entrepreneurship was very insightful, and I'm sure your wise words will definitely help the budding entrepreneurs. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Kiran. Thank you. Thanks for this lovely gesture.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank
This is
you.
a small token of love on behalf of City University. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you. Thanks for inviting me. Thanks.